This media is brought to you by Polyscope.
In the realm of tomorrow, where techniques mind, we ponder, we dream.
Good morning, welcome to Think Future. It is show 1074. Thank you for joining us. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the way we have to dance for the machines. And if you've been listening to my show for a while, you probably understand what that is. But if you haven't, I'll explain anyway. So we are now living, and I talked about this before in a couple of shows more recently, about the new social media class system. We are living in this new class system. See, we thought we got away from the class system. See, we were in a class system. I'm thinking about America specifically. Is that we were in a class system in Britain, then we came to America and we would try to destroy that class system. Now, it may still exist. It still existed afterwards. But we tried to upend the class system in such a way that someone from a lower class would be able to have more upward mobility, and they'd be able to get into the middle classes or higher classes, or actually create a middle class and these things. So the class system got more fluid. People would be able to move upwards from class to class a lot easier. But the problem with that is that humanity, we're hierarchical creatures, and we like some kind of hierarchy, and we like knowing where we are in the hierarchy. It's a human thing. It's a human thing. So every single time we've had some kind of a breakthrough where we've been able to communicate with each other, where we've been able to improve communications amongst humans, say for example like the internet. When the internet first came out, there were no class systems. It was a complete network system. There was no barriers between individuals. Individuals could communicate with individuals. There was a lot of peer-to-peer stuff going on. Anyone could talk to anyone without intermediaries in between. And then over time, as more and more people joined the internet, intermediaries started sitting in between individuals and judging who would be able to see what. And this was an evolution of it. So at the beginning, Twitter, at the beginning, Facebook, at the beginning, any of these social media entities, they were a lot more open to peer-to-peer communication between individuals. But then it got to a certain point where they couldn't conceivably. It had something to do with scale, but it also had something to do with the way they wanted to monetize. They wanted to monetize by using advertising or eyeballs, or bringing more people in to watch ads and things like that. So in order to increase the amount of people who are watching ads and compel people to come back onto the site, they had to mess around with the communications between these individuals. So they had to create rules and strata and statuses and class systems within the social media. So you're a low class person, or a mid class person, or a high class person, and these people created these strata in between individuals. Now, what is the point I was trying to make with that? Is that we now live in a system where these strata basically decide where you're going to be in the system. And you can try to move up. It's kind of like, how did you used to move up in the past? Well, you did good work, and people recognized that your work was good, and they helped you, and they helped you up, and they helped you up, and they helped you up, until you were able to, survive on your own and rise up and build money, buy a bigger place, whatever. Increase your status within the community, increase your class within the community, and typically it had to do with making more money. But here, it's completely different. Now it's more like street cred, right? It's like you've got to have credibility. You have to be, because we're in an attention economy. Since we have sort of switched from a monetary to an attention economy. Now, sure, there's money there, but the attention eventually leads to the money. The thing that they want you to do in order to move up in the class system. So like I said, moving up in the class system before was doing good work, getting good reviews, getting people to notice you and see you and notice the skill of your effort, and merit-based, on a merit-based system, help you to ascend through the class levels or the class strata. But we now live in the attention economy, and what is the thing that helps you to rise up through the strata? Attention. The more attention that you can garner for what you are doing and saying, mostly what you're saying, well, doing too, because if you do videos and other visual things like that, other physical things like that, that's what drives you up through the strata. And that's where I come back to my phrase, dancing for the machines. And what do I mean by dancing for the machines? Is that we are now in a world where machines are controlling our visibility to the rest of the world. Like I said, prior to these intermediaries where we had a more Wild West internet, then anybody could communicate to anybody, and it was much easier for anybody to communicate to anybody. Now that we have these intermediaries, and some people say there's only like 5 intermediaries in the world. There's Google, Facebook, and a few others. Now that we have these intermediaries basically deciding who gets to see what and who gets to communicate to who, then we all need to dance to the tune of the machines. Because if we don't dance to the tune of the machines, then we're never even seen. In this world, you have to dance to the tune of the machines to be seen. And if you don't dance to the tune of the machines, you'll never be seen, or you can pay to be seen through promotion tabs or ads or whatever. So we have now moved to a world, and this is why the big tech companies have so much power, because they can decide in a second whether or not you are allowed to be seen or not. And if you are not allowed to be seen, you basically disappear off the planet and become completely pointless. No one sees you. Your business could go from a roaring whatever it is to 0 in a second if you don't dance the right tune to the machines. We don't even have human beings reviewing this stuff anymore. It's usually wham, bam, slam. The AI decides that you're not to be seen, and suddenly you are not seen anymore. It's like the systems are ostracizing you and you've disappeared off the face of the planet. So now, this is what we need to do. We are now living in a world where we need to dance to the tune of the machines. Now, if you ask me, this is a suboptimal world to be in, because think of what you have to do to dance to the machines. The machines want you to do something that garners attention, because the more things you do that garner attention, the more people will look at the thing that garners attention, and the more ads that they can run against the thing that garners attention. So what's my point? We live in a world that's perturbed by attention. Just because something is popular doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. And so much is hidden from us because it's not outrageous enough. It's not crazy enough. It doesn't create enough views. It doesn't capture enough eyeballs. The good stuff, the quality stuff, the stuff that doesn't necessarily garner tons of attention is disappearing in front of us. Because if you can't dance for the machines, then you're pretty much persona non grata. We need the system to change. We need quality. We need attention to become less important factor so that we can get to the good stuff. We need these things to change. Otherwise, we can never get to the good stuff. And I think AI is actually helping that. Because the problem with Google search and all those other things is that it purposely looks at the most popular stuff. That was the whole point of Google. If you remember the original reason for Google, it had used the PageRank algorithm. And PageRank was human beings linking to things that they thought were of interest. And the more people linked to this thing that they thought was of interest, then the higher up it would be on the scale. But they've stepped away from that algorithm. It's all about attention. It's all about more views. It's all about dancing to the machine. And that's what we need to do now. We need to break away from that. We need to get away from that. And AI does help us do that, because when you ask a query of AI, it does all the searching for you. And if it's not forced to search for just the popular stuff, then it could uncover things you would never expect. So if you ask me, all of this moving away from search engines and more towards AI, let AI do the more discriminating, deeper searches, then we may be able to get away from the attention economy, from the having to dance for the machines, to actually be seen. So this can only be a good thing, because we can finally start getting back to the quality, to the good stuff, and not just to the most outrageous, crazy, insane stuff that garners attention. That's it for me for today. See you next time, and until then, don't forget to think future.
Pixels and philosophies merge and mold, a future untold, unseen.